Hello, Jamf Nation community, and welcome to JNUC 2021. This session is called the State of the Jamf Platform for Developers, which is all about Jamf APIs. This session will stay pretty high level on various topics and recommend you checking out other Jamf API sessions for a deeper technical dive. Target audience is any consumer, really, but also to provide updates and insight into the direction for the Jamf APIs to our equally valued partners. Presenting today with myself, Travis Senor. I'm a Jamf Pro product manager, and then alongside of me, Matt Armstrong, who is our Jamf data security architect. For a general overview, here are the topics Matt and I will be discussing. We'll provide a vision and direction for the Jamf APIs, discuss the Jamf Pro specific APIs and long-term goals for each. I'll then turn it over to Matt, and he'll cover security topics around the API, give a high-level insight into other Jamf platform product APIs, and then conclude with some helpful tools and resources for you to use when questions arise as you're building out those integration or automation workflows. So the high-level vision we have is really about wanting to empower you to build your own solutions for the Jamf Enterprise platform. Now, utilizing Jamf APIs is all about automation, so you can take the human element out of the process. In your Jamf environment, there's a ton of data that you can take advantage of for creating unique workflows, and Jamf wants to ensure we continue to make it possible for you to be successful in doing just that. And we realize there's a lot of data that you can utilize, and based off feedback in our observation, there's really three primary workflows that customers use the APIs the most for. This really comes down to inventory data or device data that can be used for reporting purposes or targeting device-specific workflows. The next thing is being able to take action on those devices, like sending MDM commands or deploying apps. And finally, the integration piece by being able to tie in other third-party solutions into Jamf. This is really the icing on the cake when managing your Apple ecosystem in a more integrated and automated fashion. Of course, when scoping, whether done individually or most commonly done via smart groups, is another big component to ensure the workflow you're trying to initiate is being targeted to the right device or group of devices. So now that I talked a little bit about the vision of APIs at Jamf and core workflows, let's dive into the APIs that's been the dominant ones for Jamf over the years, specifically with the Jamf Pro product. With Jamf Pro, there are currently two APIs, the Classic API and the Jamf Pro API, and I'll touch base on both. But starting with the Classic API, it's our longest lived API that's been around for 10 plus years. Today, the Classic API supports basic authentication with the ability to encode, supports XML and JSON for GET type requests, and XML for data formats for your put and post type requests. In terms of data access, it's the API our partners and customers are primarily using for their integrations and workflows today. The Jamf Pro API, on the other hand, has been around for a few years now, and in the future will eventually replace the Classic API. But there's a number of things that need to take place before that can happen. First, overall, Jamf Pro is a large monolith code base today. But Jamf has initiatives that are currently underway to continue modularizing various components of Pro. There's many benefits for this architecture change, and when talking about APIs, it's enhancements to products at scale, performance, and support. For example, today the Classic API acts as its standalone product, meaning the UI is not tied into the API at all. So when updates occur, Jamf makes changes to both the Classic API and also the user interface. With the Jamf Pro API, also known as the Universal API, once components are modularized, the UI will be driven from the API. This means a single change to the API will transfer down to the user interface as well. Additionally, it enables more granular access to data via API endpoints. With the goal in mind, whatever you can do in the user interface, you'll be able to accomplish in the API as well. A few key features that our API consumers have been asking for is token-based authentication. This is available in the Jamf Pro API today, where it uses a form of OAuth instead of the basic authentication. The ability for pagination and filtering has also come up, so API consumers can target a subset of data versus getting all the data for their search at once. And then again, the flexibility to use the API for their workflows as they would for the user interface is also important. Finally, a third key component is performance, reliability, and scale. The Classic API today is capable of handling integrations and automations of workflows and has done so for many years. However, Jamf wants to take this experience to a new level where we're able to bring changes, updates, and fixes faster to the user base. This brings me to the concept of API versioning. In the Classic API, there's no concept of versioning, so there's added risk and potential impact to existing workflows where Jamf engineers need to consider before making any changes. With the Jamf Pro API, Jamf introduced versioning, so users are not impacted at all when new changes, fixes, or updates are introduced. Simply continue using the same version of the API endpoint you're already using until you're ready to adopt the next version. Finally, you'll notice that some endpoints are marked as preview. Endpoints with this tag means it's a functional endpoint to use, and we'd like to get your feedback on these endpoints that are marked as preview. Just know that the near future changes will happen, which will impact its functionality. For production use endpoints, it's recommended to only use endpoints with a version associated to it and does not state the word preview. So to tie this all up, today we have the Classic API and the Jamf Pro API. Both are functional and we recommend you use them for your workflow needs. The Classic API is the API that has existed since the beginning and offers a more complete set of endpoints you'll want to use for now towards automating your workflows or integrating with Pro. The Jamf Pro API is the future API for Pro. It offers improvements in overall endpoint functionality, scale, and performance. This API is production available today, so please use this API if it meets your needs for the specific workflow you're after, and just expect continued development and focus on the Jamf Pro API going forward. If you have questions about which API is best suited for the problem you're trying to solve for, please reach out to our developer relations and solution partner teams. They're a great resource and happy to help with all the things related to integrations or, of course, the API. Matt will introduce these resources later in his portion of this presentation. So earlier I talked about splitting the Jamf Pro monolith codebase into modules. As Jamf Pro continues down this path, you'll see more parity between the Classic API and the Jamf Pro API. Jamf has started with inventory modularization and are close to wrapping up mobile devices inventory, with the next focus being on computers inventory. Questions have been asked if the Classic API is going to be going away soon. And I can say until there's further parity between Pro and Classic, the Classic API will continue being supported as is today. Jamf will formally announce any deprecation plans with the Classic API once appropriate, and we will be sure to provide adequate time for customers and partners to transition their workflows over to the Pro API. For any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to offer more clarity and insight as necessary. So I hope you find this information around the vision and expectations between the two Jamf Pro APIs helpful. Please continue sharing your feedback on what data and or endpoints are most important to you. And check out future release notes for all updates as development continues on the Jamf Pro API. Next, I'll turn it over to Matt Armstrong, who will dive in further into security topics and high-level overview of the Jamf platform APIs. Thanks again, and over to you, Matt.
Hello, and thanks again for joining us. I'm Matt, and I'm a data security architect here at Jamf. I wouldn't be a security person if I didn't start there. So when we talk about API security, you look at the Jamf Pro API, and we're leveraging token authentication there to minimize the use of credentials and reduce the risk of a brute force attack. To go along with that, we, as of 1033, we'll also have rate limiting on that token generation. So the one endpoint that consumes basic authentication credentials will be rate limited to 100 requests per minute. Now we talked about the customer API or the Classic API, and we're looking at making those changes there as well. And furthermore, looking at rate limiting on other parts of the product. So looking at the login page, the enrollment page, so that we better protect your credentials through our application and security controls. For more information on sort of what our posture is and what we're seeing, go check out the security and compliance for the win session where we talk through some of those things. 5 years ago when I started, this session would have been 30 minutes, maybe 45, and would have been a deep dive into all of Jamf's APIs. Today, we can't do that. So this is where I become a hype man for other sessions where you get those technical details. There's a ton of sessions around APIs from our customers, from our partners, and from Jamf's. Everything from automation, integrations, and DIY tutorials. I was trying to find sessions for this, and I had to leave most of them off because there were 100 plus. So go check those out. There's a lot of great information out there. And I'll kind of highlight a few things. So we look at the platform. We have Pro, we have School, we have Protect, we have Title Editor, our friends from Mondata, and the most recent one is Wandera. So Jamf School API looks a lot like the Pro API. And imagine that as another management solution. So all the things that you want to do, and Travis highlighted in the vision, integrations with devices, reporting, and automation are all capable. It has a feature-rich API and really helps you, just like the Pro API, automate, centralize, and generally improve your processes and through streamlining and programmatic access. There's a great session, and it's a bit of a DIY. It's a bit of a integration session. All the things you can do, Jamf School and the API. Check that out for the details, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot. I know I did just in the couple minutes I took a look at it. Jamf Protect is a very different API. It's a GraphQL implementation. Personally, I'm a huge fan of GraphQL. I really like the data consistency, the ability to interact with multiple objects in one query. And again, you can build your mutations so that you can tweak things as you go programmatically. Again, same thing, centralizing reporting and dashboarding. So if you have a system of choice, you can pull data through the API, or even better, you can stream the logs to, say, Splunk. This gives you an ability for automating remediation, quarantining devices, or deploying analytics to a subset of devices for IR processes. So if you have specific analytics that you want to go through as you go through an IR process, you can update those and tweak the scope of them to build that automation. Title Editor, another one of our recent acquisitions. So we're not just enabling customers and partners to build automation, we're automating these things as well through APIs, and whether they be public or private. We are looking at bringing the platform together and our portfolio together to give you a better experience. So Title Editor and Jamf Pro is building out automation to discover smart groups, read package information, and collect that metadata from the packages, and coming soon, creating app installers for those packages. Look for updates from that Mondata team, formerly Mondata team, and now this week. And the newest one, and one of the ones I'm most excited about, is Wandera, powered by Jamf. Absolutely incredible what they do with data and the amount of data that they ingest every day. Not a whole lot of details out there publicly, so go check out this session. I know I will be. I'm a true data nerd and really can't wait to see what they're doing with APIs and data streams. So we covered a lot. Our platform's growing and continuing to grow, and it's moving fast. So we have a lot of documentation out there on developer.jamf.com about which APIs and capabilities you should be using for different workflows. We also have a developer team or developer relation team here at Jamf and a solution partner team. So if you're a developer or a partner, get in touch with those teams and they'll work with you to build out solutions. And if you're a customer, go through support, go through your reps. We're really focused on building automation and building that ecosystem up to help you and want to work with you to accomplish those goals. Speaking of the developer portal, there's a great session, developer portal session. They've been hard at work. They've got a lot of updates. Go get it straight from the horse's mouth and check out that session. And they aren't the only team that's been hard at work. This is probably the project I'm most excited about this week. And Bryson's giving a presentation of a concept, the Jamf App Platform concept. So without stealing too much of that thunder, can you say one-click integrations? Thank you for listening. Appreciate you taking the time, coming to JNUC and being part of the community. I really hope to get back in person next year, but until then, take care and stay safe. Thank you.